Hello, this is Deborah Kitko with the Wayne County Public Library here in Worcester, Ohio. We're going to start a new how-to series. For the next few weeks, we're going to take a look at vital records. Vital records include births, marriages, death records, and we're also going to take a brief look at divorces as well. I just want to give a few general comments about the vital records. A lot of times people are looking for these to try to go back from one generation to another, try to verify the connections between parents and children. A lot of times when you're doing your research, you'll get far enough back that you may not be able to find a birth record or a death record or a marriage record, or the record you have may not include the information you're looking for. So you may have to use some substitute sources. For example, here in Ohio, births and deaths were not recorded until 1867. Now, there was a first attempt about 1865 to actually record the births, marriages, and deaths here at the state level, and very few of those records actually exist. A lot of times whenever the government tries to institute a new set of laws, a lot of times individuals are a little bit skeptical, and they do not always follow through on what the government desires. So for 1855, whenever they passed that legislation, they were supposed to record the births, deaths, and marriages from 1856, 1857 time period. Now, we're fortunate here in Wayne County that those records have survived. I'm going to talk about those here in a little bit, probably another session. But if you're actually trying to verify, try to find a birth record for someone born in Wayne County in 1832, you're not going to find an actual birth record for that individual. And this is because, like I said, Ohio did not begin recording births until 1867, with the exception of a few places. Marriages here in Wayne County were recorded at the time that our county was organized, and that's how it is in Ohio, likewise with Indiana. So here in Ohio, our state was formed in 1803, but our county was not formed here in Wayne County until 1812. So the first marriage record that we have will not be recorded until about 1812, 1813 time period. If you are trying to do research in other states, you'll want to go online and see when they actually first recorded their marriages, births, deaths, because this varied from state to state. And a lot of times it may vary from county to county within that state until the state mandated the recordings of those records. For example, if you're trying to research in Indiana, for example, you may find some of the early birth records or death records as early as like the 1880s. However, they did not require it at the state level until about 1907. With Pennsylvania, they're also a little bit later. State-mandated births were not recorded until 1906. The marriage records in Pennsylvania were not recorded until about 1885. So if you're looking for marriage records over in Pennsylvania, there's a good possibility you may have to look into church records or some other alternative resources to try to verify that information. And the counties of Pennsylvania, some may have started recording the births, deaths in 1892, if I remember correctly. You'll want to double check my numbers on that, the years. So this is just something to keep in mind. That if you actually, try to contact one of these places and ask for a birth record, there's a good possibility the birth record does not exist because it just was not mandated to be recorded. So you ask, well, how do you deal with this then? If you're trying to verify a birth information, or you're trying to verify death information, or trying to verify some other information, there are other resources you can use as substitutes. For example, a lot of times people are looking for marriage records to try to find the parents' names of the bride and groom. Well, here in Wayne County, you're not going to find that on marriage records prior to 1898. So you're going to have to use some alternative resources. So you may want to, if you don't find the marriage record, you may want to try to look through biographical sketches. You may want to look through history books. You may want to look through newspapers. A lot of times you may find those listed there. And you also may want to check for church records. Likewise, if you're trying to find a birth date, some sources that you may look into for finding some actual birth dates may be court records. It could be a death record. It could be probate, like a church record. obituaries, memorial cards. So those are some other alternatives to trying to locate the birth date. If you're trying to locate maybe the death date, once again, we've talked a little bit about cemetery records, so that may be the only source you have to verify the death date. Or you may end up having to verify the death date through the probate court records as well. Census records also provide some information, some clues. Family histories, mortality schedules, obituary indexes. So those are just some of the sources. You may also find birth dates of children, as well as like marriage dates of individuals within pension records. So if you have an ancestor that served in one of the wars, there's a good possibility that the pension record may include some information. For example, one of my collateral lines, I actually contacted the National Archives, Washington, D.C. to obtain a copy of his full pension papers. And within those pension papers, it actually included a listing of all of his kids, both who are still living and those that died, their exact birth date, where they were born. It included who he was married to, when they were married, and where they were married. And this was a tremendous help in trying to piece together this family. So that is just another resource that you can look in to try to verify some other information. So if you have any questions and general questions, feel free to contact us, contact our department. We're still presently closed to the public, but we are answering phone calls and we do answer emails as well. So 330-262-0916, and just choose the extension for genealogy. Or you can contact our department at Genealogy, which is GENEALOGY, at wcpl.info, or you can contact me directly at dkitko, that's DKITKO, at wcpl.info.